Thank you for accommodating our change in schedule, and want to take just a few minutes before we get our agenda started, just I guess a point of privilege on behalf of myself and the council to acknowledge the heroes that we have in the room for a different meeting tonight, a very special meeting. Our guest of honor is in the doorway back here, but just as on this 9/11 anniversary, just to say thank you for the work that you do. And the Exchange Club today at 11 had a little program at the Senior Citizen Center, and where they honored firefighters and police officers and asked us all to remember those who were involved in the 9/11 just carnage that happened to our country, and how that didn't tear us down but lifted us up and brought us together as Americans. So I just want to say thank you for what you do for our community. We are so thankful for each and every one of you and the work that you do, especially on this day, on 9/11. So tonight, as you lay your heads down, I encourage everybody to just say a prayer of thanks for this great country, for the men and women who serve in capacities that we can't even imagine, and just know that we're safe because of the work that you do. So just want to say thank you on this anniversary of that eventful day. Our meeting is called to order. You can see we do have a couple of folks absent. Councilman Hall is going to be calling in. That's what the phone, that's what Stephen's working on there to reach him. Councilman Cromer is not going to be here this evening, so you're stuck with the three of us, so unfortunately. But we do have agendas that are on the podium if anyone would like to grab one so you can sort of follow along with everything. Tonight is our workshop. During the workshop, we just discuss items that we'll be voting on at our regular meeting. The only thing we'll vote on tonight is the agenda. And then everything else from there on will just be discussion items only. Our regular council meeting is a week from tonight, and at that point in time, we'll be voting on the items that we've discussed this evening. So with the meeting being called to order, gentlemen, you have the agenda that's before you. Does anyone want to make a motion to either approve or make any changes?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Okay, second. So a motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So that carries. All right, Ray, I'm going to turn everything over to you. Our guest of honor looks like she's ready, and I'll turn it over to you.
Bringing her tonight. We are officially retiring Mia from the City of Tifton and the Tifton Police Department. We would like to thank Mia for her 4 years of service to the City of Tifton and to the Tifton Police Department. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Mia. During her tenure, Mia was a member of the National Narcotic Detector Dog Association, and she placed third in narcotic detection at a canine competition out of 96 canines from all over the state of Georgia. In addition to the Tifton Police Department, she has assisted the Georgia State Patrol, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and the Tift County Sheriff's Department in tracking and narcotics operations, with her biggest narcotics bust being 19 pounds of methamphetamine and her largest money seizure being $85,000. Her tracking skills were most notably utilized when locating a stabbing suspect that was hiding under a mobile home after allegedly stabbing his partner. Way to go, Mia. Let's give Mia a round of applause for her great work.
Is there steak in there or something? Like some ground beef or something?
I think it's a pork chop bone or something.
Pork chop?
There is a real one in there, though.
Prepared a musical treat for us. First thing,
We'll do a little speech.
Okay.
The music will have to. I really do appreciate every single one of you for the opportunity. Thank Chief Hyman for the opportunity as well. Y'all been amazing. Y'all been supportive, and I'm telling you, this job was amazing because of the opportunity y'all given me with her. Now, luckily for me, she was so good at what she did. She made it very easy for me to look good. So she's been an amazing partner. I've been with her more than I have my own family. We train a lot, but, just like us as humans, the older we get the senses, we start losing our senses. So she started losing her nose, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
she's still a wonderful dog, and she's done a lot for the city of Tifton. She's done a lot for the PD, and she's done more for me than I ever even would have imagined. So thank you all for the opportunity to do that.
Well, she's been a wonderful ambassador for not only the Tifton Police Department, but the city of Tifton. And I know you've taken her, I see y'all, would see y'all out at different places, and everyone just gravitates to someone with a dog, and we all love dogs. And Mia's somebody that we're all very, very proud of, and certainly proud of your service as well. So thank you for those words, and we're gonna miss Mia. So you take good care of her. She's a special girl.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's give them another round of applause. I know. She knows there's something special in that bag. Yeah. All right, we'll move on to new business, and our first item of new business is concerning festival designation for the Arts Affair event. So Emily, I believe you and Joy Yost have some information to share with us.
Hi, so you want me to just tell you a little bit about the festival? So the Arts Affair Festival is a big 2-day festival that we'll have in Tifton on November 3rd and 4th. So that's a Friday night with a concert, and then all day long on Saturday the 4th. And the festival will take place in and around the grounds of the Sid Blackmar Arts Center in the Tifton-Tift County Public Library. So this is an expansion of a festival we've done for several years now. It used to be called Celebrate Creativity. We've grown and expanded it and have renamed it Arts Affair in honor of Love Affair. I keep getting my festival names mixed up now. But that's where we're going with it. We hope that this festival will continue to grow in the future, that it will be something that Tifton will be very proud of, that will bring a lot of people into town and really have everyone in town engaged in it. So it includes the Friday night concert, which will be free for the public. And then on Saturday, we'll kick off with a parade in honor of Sid Blackmar that'll start at the park, come down to the festival area down Tift Avenue. And then during the day, we'll have Kids Art Circus, we'll have an exhibit inside, an artist market outside. We'll have Sweet Taste of Tifton bakers, authors, art demonstrations, all sorts of wonderful things, really just to celebrate the arts in town. So that's what the festival is about.
The Arts Council is also asking for, to be able to serve alcohol. They will have one alcohol vendor there. The alcohol area of the festival area is very well contained. It would include the Sid Blackmar Art Center and the grounds around it, the sidewalk in front of the Sid and in front of the Tift County Library, the alley between the Sid and the library, library lane between Love and the alley between the library and the courthouse, the section of Love between Library Lane and Ford, and the parking lot directly behind the Sid and the library. I've spoken with the chief about this, and both him and I are very comfortable with the boundaries to serve alcohol.
Okay. Great. Any questions of Joy or of Emily? Okay. It's going to be a great weekend. There's some special things we're going to do as a council for that, so we won't let that cat out of the bag, but anyway, it's going to be a great weekend, so I encourage everyone to put that on your calendars, and we'll be voting on it next week, so don't anticipate any issues or anything. So.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and yes, we're very excited about it, so y'all come on out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Joy. All right, our next item is review of the 2023 Justice Assistance Grant, or the JAG program. So I'm going to turn everything over to our police chief, Chief Hyman.
Mayor and Council, this is like really a continuation. We've applied for this grant for several years. We received notice from the Department of Justice that our proposed allocation of $16,637 for the Justice Grant for 2023 As part of the grant requirement, the city application must be submitted to the governing authority and public for review and comments. Tifton Police Department proposes to use the FY 2023 drag funding for personnel hours and consultant fees associated with establishing gang violence, working on gang violence, and the funding will be used to cover that. Normally, we use the funding for working traffic, and other things around town. This time, we're gonna concentrate it more toward investigative, using it for like trying to slow down some of our fights, some of this gang stuff that we got going on, so we can work more with it. $10,000 of it will be for personnel use, $5,000 will be for consultant fees, and then $1,600 for administration fee. The $5,000 consultant fee is mainly, we know several people that are per se in the field of gangs, experts and stuff like that. And what we want to do is talk to them, have them to come in and teach a couple of classes, and then also to ride around with some of the officers and show them, what they should be looking for. So more of a hands-on type thing to use them. And then the other part for its personnel will be used to pay our officers overtime, to come in and work, because during the shift, sometimes it's hard to concentrate on one thing because you're getting pulled around. So doing it that way. So that's what the intention of using it this year is for.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, any questions? Chief Hyman? I think anytime we can continue to address our crime issues, that's a good thing for our community. So this is, like you said, we've used this funding before for different projects and programs within the department. So I think this will be a good use of this funding to create that task force to deal with our gang activity. So
Yes.
And grant money is good money.
grant money is great money, yes. Okay. All right, thanks,
All right,
Chief. Thank you so much. All right, next item on our agenda is the Trees Across Georgia Grant Program. And I'll call on Michael Mitchum to present some information about that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Trees Across Georgia Grant Program is a grant that is funded by the Georgia Forestry Commission, and it has a term of up to 4 years, and you can request up to $300,000 per year. The Tree Board is currently putting together a proposal for it that would include a part-time position, plantings and removals within the disadvantaged area of Tifton, and is looking at a maximum budget of $100,000 a year. Now, this is a reimbursement grant that would have the city provide the funds up front and then request for payment on it. We're also looking at, with the part-time position, they will be responsible for community outreach, getting the word of trees and their importance out into the community, presenting it to individuals, and also maintaining the trees that we are planting over time. They'll be going out doing waterings, doing prunings, and making sure these trees can live their full life expectancy here in Tifton. Of course, that will come with purchasing of site materials and everything, and that is also funded by the grant. The final thing they're looking forward to doing with this is assessing the city's tree ordinance to be able to protect our trees on the right-of-ways, so that people can't just come in and cut down some of our large oaks that have been here that provide value to the community.
Right.
It's a very important grant. This is the third one that the Tree Board has went after in the last 3 years. They were awarded a relief grant back in 2001 after Hurricane Michael. They applied for the relief grant again this year that we're currently waiting to hear back for, and then we're also going after this Trees Across Georgia grant with the hopes of getting it. So.
Wonderful. Okay,
Yes.
any
I think
questions?
it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a very good thing, and we appreciate the work of the tree board. I think trees are something sometimes we take advantage of.
Yep.
And if they're not there, they're not there, and it makes a difference. And I have the opportunity when I'm, taking maybe a newcomer around town, they always comment on the trees and the tree canopy and how beautifully forested Tifton is, so we're very fortunate for that. So thank you for your ongoing work and making sure that that's maintained and for seeking out these funding sources. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Speaking of trees, we
Yes.
need to do something, have a plan with Fullwood Park. Trees are coming down
Yeah.
for various reasons, and I don't know if we've planted any. I hadn't been through there enough to look, but we need to at least when a tree goes down, another tree needs to
Something
be
needs to go
planted.
out, yeah.
That, I can't answer to that. That is an area that the tree board looks at often for reestablishing the longleaf canopy in Fullwood, because they are a very slow-growing tree, and we understand that it is going to take time to reestablish that.
Yeah,
So that is one thing we look to this grant funding to be able to do as well.
good.
So, all right.
Okay, perfect. Good point. Thank you. All right, our next item under new business is a request from Ryland Environmental proposing a price increase for commercial customers. So I'm going to call on John from Ryland to come and share some information with us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Kind of every year, we have to look at prices. Costs are continually going up for us, as you know. Sure, the city sees that supplies, insurances, benefits are all significant increases. And what we're asking for is 5% starting January 1st on the commercial customers. Just to give you an idea of 5% on a 4-yard customer is about $3.36, something like that. On a 6-yard a month, on a 6-yard customer, it's about $5 and 20 cents a month, or something like that. And on a 8-yard, it's right about $7 a month. So it's not a significant amount on each individual customer, but of course for us over several hundred customers, it does add up and help us cover the significant cost increases we've had. Everything from tires to oil to parts continue to skyrocket. Trucks, we have replaced all the trucks here in Tifton. We have newer trucks, but cost to expense, we need to continue to do more in Tifton, and this helps us finance that and helps us to continue to provide good service by being able to keep up with the rising cost.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Yeah. Just like to add that commercial customers have not seen a solid waste increase in about 3 years. They're experiencing inflation and cost as well as the city. So they went through the proper channels to be able to bring this today at 5%. In your packet, you will see the breakdown of what each would go to, and definitely don't break the bank. Ryland did want to go ahead and bring this before you, so each customer will get at least a 60-day notice so they can prepare in advance, and it's not something that's sprung on them last minute coming off the holidays.
Right,
It's time
yeah.
to have that increase.
And you're right, it's a nominal increase. I mean, it overall will provide funding for you, but to the individual customers, it's not too terribly bad. So, okay, any comments? Josh, you got any questions?
I'm just looking at the chart here.
Okay.
I'd just like, since my friend Aaron is sitting there, I got to give a shout out to him. Had big piles of yard debris out in front of my house and some others, and I walk out there and look, and here comes the Ryland truck. I'm thinking, okay, they'll pick up. Who's driving the truck?
Yeah.
Old Aaron driving the truck. So he, man of many talents.
He is.
He said he was the one picking up all this hurricane debris, and I think you might want to just make that a regular thing, Aaron. You did a good job. So
I appreciate it.
And I'll take a minute to brag on these guys. Hearing from other city managers and other communities, some that were hit very hard by the hurricane and others that were blessed, as like the city of Tifton, they're still very far behind on picking up debris. Aaron briefed me right before we walked in, and we're hoping to maybe have this completed before the end of the week and be back to normal. So kudos to that team for cleaning up our community in a timely manner.
we'll just volunteer Aaron to go to these other locations since he's obviously a truck driver.
He's Tifton. We're not giving him up.
I can't give Aaron
He stays here.
if I have any problem with Aaron, it's he works too hard. He's a really hard worker, and so we can't give him up. So we don't volunteer. They'll try to keep him. So we'll share him, but he is excellent. So.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Okay, all right. I don't think we have any other questions, so thank you. Thank you for that information.
Y'all have a great night.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, next we'll call on our city manager, Emily Beeman, to talk about the work order proposal for the Commerce Way redevelopment project.
Not long ago, the city of Tifton applied for a rural downtown development grant. We were able to receive those funds, and we accepted those funds from DCA in the amount of $955,000 with a city match of almost $300,000. Once we applied for the grant, everything came back. It became crunch time to look at the numbers and see what the project would actually come in at today's pricing. Last month's pricing and this month's pricing, believe it or not, there's really a huge difference. When you have months that lapse, unfortunately, the prices have increased. Everything has increased. The project originally came in at $3.5 million. This is something that the city could not afford. what we did, we went to the project and really scaled back a lot of it. Just some items that we removed. We removed 2 solar-powered crosswalks and thermoplastic crosswalk markings. We have asked the DDA for help in signage and landscaping. We did remove that from the plans. Stamped concrete in the alley will be taken out and just replaced with asphalt paving. We had plans for 3rd Street to be redesigned to add an additional crosswalk. We did take that out as there are crosswalks on both ends of the street. And then there were some sidewalk improvements right beside City Hall that we took out. So we really scaled this thing back to the bare minimums to meet the needs of Commerce Way. The 3 main needs of Commerce Way is updating the utilities there, stormwater, and the sidewalk that runs down Commerce Way. It is not ADA compliant. It is a major trip hazard and really an inconvenience to the merchant and the customers down on Commerce Way. So after we scaled all of this back, the project came in at about $2.7 million, which would leave an overage that the city would have to fund of $1.5 million. In your packet on the 2nd page, we have broken down how we will pay for this from the grant, from the city match. The additional funds, we will use T-SPLOST for engineering streets and sidewalks, SPLOST 5 for streets and sidewalks, SPLOST 5 for water sewer, SPLOST 6 for streets and sidewalks, to come up with the additional $1.5 million the city would have to pay in addition to the grant and the match.
Sometimes you just have to send grant money back. Okay. To take 1.5 or $1.6 million and put it there, I question if that's the place that we should put that kind of money. I appreciate the 955 grant, but it doesn't even come close. And I don't see throwing a 1.6 million down there on Commerce Way at this point.
The only issue with deobligating grant funds with the Department of Community Affairs, who control nearly all the state grant money that comes through and some of the federal money that comes through. Once you deobligate those funds, your next grant application, you have points deducted for the deobligation of funds. That's a real challenge for us. The project, I know through working with the Downtown Development Authority, and I wish our DDA director was here tonight to share this, they have some pretty significant projects that they're working on. The problem is with the current infrastructure that's there, they can't proceed with the projects because there's not enough water pressure for what is now to be required as a sprinklered building. Years and years ago, when Commerce Way developed, those regulations for sprinkler systems and things like that weren't in place. The project has not been publicly announced yet, so I don't want to throw that name out there to, because it's still, it's probably one of the best kept secrets, but I don't want people to say, well, I heard the mayor say. But it's a very significant project that will really change that street in a very, very positive way. We've gone in and put the parking lots, the sidewalks are dangerous. From what I understand, just to repair the sidewalks is going to be about $1.5 million. So yes, we are over budget. So I guess one way to look at it is the infrastructure replacement and improvement could be covered by the grant, and then we're going to take care of the sidewalks. I guess that's one way to look at it if you want to separate that money out. But it's an important project to the Downtown Development Authority for ongoing commercial development of that area. We've got a couple of projects that are just stagnant right now because we don't have that infrastructure improvement to be able to allow them to move forward. So is it over budget? Absolutely, but we've got the SPLOST money set aside for these type of improvements that, and T-SPLOST money, transportation SPLOST money for some of the improvements that will help cover that expense. So it's not really coming out of the general fund per se, that we budgeted. It's coming out of SPLOST projects that the public approved. So.
Well, and I appreciate that, but things like the water and sewer should come out of the enterprise fund. We've got to quit disadvantaging city taxpayers by using the small amount we get, whether it be the 30% or of SPOS or the 33% of lost, and fund some of these things. Because it's got to come from water and sewer. And we shouldn't have to use money that we can use elsewhere. I appreciate using T-SPOS, but that money too can be used elsewhere. So the sidewalks need, no question, need to be replaced. We can't have something that's not safe. But I think we need to go back and look at what, seriously, how, enterprise fund, what we do, these sidewalks, and just the bare minimum to get it where it is safe versus taking $1.6 million. That's a lot of money going down there.
It is a lot of money, but it's our downtown, and it's a significant investment that I think we should support. So.
If it's isn't done, this top secret, would it hold them from?
They wouldn't be able to get, they wouldn't be able to have a sprinkler system. If they can't have a sprinkler system, they can't open.
I got you.
Nor can any of those other 10 to 12 buildings that are there if they're required to have a sprinkler system based on their use. And I'm not, I don't know, I don't see any of our guys here from our permitting department, but depending on the use, you have to have sprinkler systems. If it's either capacity or if it's an apartment or Airbnb or something like that where you've got people sleeping there, they have to be sprinklered. And that infrastructure is so old and deteriorated. It's a part of our downtown we haven't paid any attention to lately, so it's time,
Fix that infrastructure.
Yeah.
Fix it with enterprise funds. Let water and sewer pay for it. That's who needs to pay for it. And then see what else. I'm not disagreeing. You got to get trained, but it's where the money comes from. We're too quick to let's use city ARPA fund, or let's use city T-SPOS fund, let's use city residents need that fund. Let everybody pay their own share. Water and sewer is where it needs to be. I agree, fix it. Sidewalks, it's in the city limits. City gonna have to fix those kind of things. But we need to go
Well,
back.
I don't want to de-obligate those funds because it will mean we won't get any additional DCA funds for years.
So,
That's big.
Okay,
Yeah,
I understand that, but then we look and see what's the bare requirement, what's the minimum requirements that we can meet to utilize the $955,000.
Yeah, I don't want to send that money.
But there's got to be another way to, I don't say manipulate this thing, but using different funds. And I think we need to just go back versus saying, okay, we got the money, let's spend $1.6 million. That's not, I just think there's going to be a little further study, and I agree with fixing some of these things, no question about that.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions before we move on? Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to call next on Ray Jones, our HR director, who's going to talk to us about the negotiating the retirement plan updates with GMEBS, which is our retirement program.
Yes, ma'am. So, as you know, back in October of 2018, the City of Tifton transferred the pension retirement to GMA, and since then, GMA uses GMEBS, which stands for Georgia Municipal Employee Benefit System, as an actuary to serve over the defined retirement plan that we currently have. Since changing over to that plan back in 2018, over the past 5 years, the city has observed and administered the original plan, making no changes since then. But at this time, as you know, after COVID-19, we, like many other organizations in every industry, not just in local government, but healthcare, education, everybody, we've experienced the Great Resignation, and finding reliable staff has become more and more difficult. So the city is now interested in updating our current benefits package, beginning with the pension. Our first proposed action would be to reduce the vesting period from 10 years, which is what it currently is, to 5 years. And this would attract and retain the younger workforce in all areas. And then the second proposed action would be to allow an in-service retirement distribution for public safety once they meet the Rule of 75. The Rule of 75 is their years of service plus their age equals 75. The approval for Emily to work with GMEBs on updating this plan would allow us as in myself and Emily, to study other options and best practices for employee retirement. In our current findings, we've realized that many cities are moving towards a 5-year vesting period to accommodate the current workforce. And as far as the in-service distribution, like I said, this would apply to public safety, and this would allow the city to keep current employees longer. We have had older employees who have previously retired from the city of Tifton inform us that, they would have stayed longer had they been able to utilize the in-service option and continue working. Police and fire is currently experiencing a lot of newer and younger employees, which is fantastic, but this is also a turning point because, not having experienced personnel in the departments for succession planning is an issue in itself. So many smaller GMEB cities that participate in the GMA retirement program like we do, they also have this option built into their plan. And while we've tried to recruit individuals, from other local cities, they have informed us that because we don't offer that, they have no interest in coming to work for the city of Tifton, police or fire department. So, financial implications that this would bring would be that reducing the vesting period, this would add an annual increase to the pension plan in the amount of $6,942 annually. And then allowing the in-service distribution for public safety would not propose any financial implications, no additional expenses with that. This would allow for a wider range of recruitment and retaining options for both existing and new employees. This would also allow Emily to negotiate and look at options for updating the plan, which should be done every 5 years to keep abreast of, what's going on in the existing workforce and stay relevant. Again, like I said, this would just be to approve the negotiations between the city manager and GMA, as well as GMEBs. Any proposed changes that she discovered after, researching would be brought back to council for approval.
Okay. All right. A lot of information.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
The pension is not cut and dry.
Yeah. No, it never is. All right. Any questions, comments?
Emily and I had a long conversation about that, as you can imagine. Pension's kind of my thing. But we had talked.
And you have no questions? And you have no questions?
Well, I was just going to support what, because we were on the phone with actuaries a while back, and all of this came up, kind of thing. The 5-year vesting, it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't think it does anything. You're 25, you're 30 years old. The last thing you're thinking about is retiring. It doesn't matter whether it's 5 years or 10 years or whatever. So I still maintain it's not a good pension plan for those younger people, because that's not what they look at. They look at that check at the end of the week. Do I have enough to pay my bills, feed my kid? They're not worried about retiring with some defined benefit plan because they don't want to have a clue. So this in-service thing, that's the biggest piece about it, I think, and the best thing that we should do.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the individuals who were here when the plan was frozen, a lot of decisions were made about the plan that, hearing about it today, I'm not comfortable with. It was a disservice to our employees. So this would help those ones that went through that struggle, and they have worked and stayed with us through that. So this is an opportunity for them to commence on their benefits, stay employed, offer that historical knowledge that they have, maybe it be in policing or fire, and share that with the younger generations and get a few more years out of them. No, a lot of them aren't wanting to retire and still be a firefighter working in the field. A lot of them want that cushy retirement job or an administrative position. So there's multiple options, but I do think this would be a good service to our employees and the ones that have stuck through us, through the good and bad.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments? You good? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ray. That was good information. All right. The next item is relating to our ordinances, and there are proposed amendments to our city's festival ordinance. So I'll turn the floor over to Emily and to Rob to discuss that.
Council, I think there was some issues and concerns about the cups, particularly as far as making sure that there's one designated cup to be used for each, for the festivals. So what we're proposing is really just a change in the definition of what an approved container is and approved wristband. So basically the definition of a approved container and approved wristband shall be a uniformly colored and designated plastic cup, mug, and wristband approved by City Council. Approved plastic cups, mugs, and wristbands shall be obtained by the Tift County Tourism Association. So basically, this is just going to nail down, this is the cup you're going to use, and the Tourism Association will be the ones that will be obtaining the cups.
Okay, that makes sense to everybody?
Yeah, this is just a cleanup of language. There's some confusion. I think they did a really good job a few years ago when they put this ordinance in place, and we never imagined that we would have all these non-for-profits coming and wanting this, which is great for our community. It's great for events. So it's just time to clean it up and mold that to what we need now as we're expanding.
Okay. All right, any questions, comments? Everybody good on that one?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, city manager report.
I just have one highlight. I had the honor and privilege of sitting in with the City of Tifton's Wellness Board last week to, they have an annual planning retreat every year. This is the first year I wasn't a part of it with the new position, but I was there to kind of coach them on and to hear what they had to say. With that, I can tell you that we have been approved once again for a $9,000 wellness grant for the City of Tifton to use. This goes towards any events we have for wellness, any prizes we buy, any competitions we put on. Really great stuff. So I'm glad to see that we have another $9,000 that we can have to push out to our employees to keep wellness up front. Wellness isn't just about physical wellness, it's mental wellness, social wellness, financial wellness. So they really have come together to categorize all of this stuff and offer some really good, cool things for our employees. It's also really good for morale too. So excited to see that grant come in.
Okay, good. Well, congratulations. That's awesome to hear that. All right, gentlemen, that is everything we have on the agenda other than mayor and council comments. So, any comments?
I'm good.
You're good?
You good?
You're good?
Yeah, I'll say something. In the past, there's been some mudslinging, people talking about the city and the counties. But right now, I really feel like we are all building good relationships with each other. And for the people that want to keep up, keep stirring the pot, and I just want to pray for them because they need it. Because we're moving forward, we're going to do what's right, and that's it. So if you want to hate it, but we're moving forward.
There you go. All right, good comments. And I think there is it is a new day, and it is, there is an effort to working together to the best of our ability for our shared constituents. And I've not said this publicly, I don't think, so I'll end the meeting by sharing with everyone. When Lost was extremely contentious, Lost was one of the hardest things I think I've ever had to go through. It was terrible, and I hope I don't ever have to go through something like that again. Because it was so difficult, and because of my connection with the Georgia Municipal Association, we got the governor's attention, and the governor has appointed committees to look at Lost and how it's done, and how do they change the legislation so it's not so contentious, so that it's better defined. That's all in the works now. That's not done yet, but there are several committees that are made up of legislators and city and county elected officials and appointed officials such as managers and other employees. And they're really taking a very deep dive into it. One of the things that I felt like I needed to do as the mayor of this community, and for my own sanity as a Christian woman, as a mom and a grandmother and a local business owner, is before we began to really talk about SPLOST, I sat down, I had my city manager with me, and sat down with the county commission chair and our county administrator and apologized for things that I had said and actions that I had done that maybe weren't as professional or as Christian or as proper as they should be. Even though the comments that I made were legitimate comments, they were the truth. I wasn't saying anything that wasn't true. It was probably in the public arena not the way to handle it. So I asked them to accept my apology because it was more important to me not to be right, but to be happy in my community. Our county commissioners have one perspective, the city council has another, and oftentimes they're not in agreement. But the comments that I made that day were, there'll still be times when we're not necessarily in agreement because we have different constituencies, we have different challenges, but we're all in it together. And I renewed my commitment to them that day that we were gonna work together. They seemed appreciative. I thought they might apologize too. They didn't, but that's okay. That's not how you offer apologies. But it was something that I felt personally that I had to do so that I could lay my head down at night and sleep and make the decision that I wanted to stay in this role for the next 4 years, hopefully. And thankfully, I think that's where we'll be. But I just wanted to share that it's been brought up by some of those people that, yeah, now that we're approaching SPLOST, now we're all getting along. No, we're all getting along because I made a personal commitment that I prayed about, that I talked to my family about, and I talked to our county administration about to get along and to work together. So I don't want people to think that this newfound opportunity is just to get SPLOST passed. It was something that I had to do to be able to live with myself and to look my children and my grandchildren in the eye and say, I expect you to conduct yourself in a particular way. I can't do that if I'm not conducting myself that way publicly. So I just want to thank you for your comments. Thank you both for your service to this community. Like I said, we have 2 council members that can't be here tonight. But Tifton is an amazing place, and we're very blessed to have so much. And I think sometimes it's easy to look across the way and say, well, the grass is greener here, or this should be done that way there, or whatever. Every day, these people come to work, and they work for all of us to make sure that this community is safe, that we're protected, that we have a great downtown, that we have events, that we have libraries, that we have all the things that we enjoy. And that doesn't just happen because of luck, that happens because of dedication. And I can assure you that all of the people that are in this room right now, many that aren't, are dedicated to this community, and I thank you all for that, and I thank you for what you do, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve with these fine gentlemen to be in the role that I'm in with this town. So I'll stop now. Any other comments? Yes.
After your comments, I think we do need to go into executive session briefly for.
Okay. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. So you just thought you were getting out of here, guys. All right. We'll call our, if there's no further business to come before us, we'll call the workshop over. We'll take just a 2-minute break, and then we'll go into executive session for legal purposes. Oh, I'm getting ahead of us.
To go into executive session.
Second.
Okay. All right. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. That's approved. All right. Thank you.